Good morning, and I hope you had a good Christmas. I also hope, if I put this video before or after New Year's Day, because I just don't know at the moment, I hope you've had a great New Year's Day or are going to have a great New Year's Day and Eve, whichever. But I thought I'd do a video. So, where do I start with this? So at the moment it's still 2024 in a very echoey cavern, which happens to be the camper builder demountable. As you can see, we've still got a lot of water coming in through this area. I sealed that up. It had briefly for a period of time stopped, but now it seems to be getting in somewhere else, and I genuinely do not know. It's dry up there, and as you work your way down, it starts to get really wet, roughly about here, and it seems to be that bit where I don't know if it's coming from. I don't know where it's coming from. You can see the drips, look. So that's got to be addressed. We've got a new drip. See, we had a leak on that window, bone dry over there, but now we have a new one, and it's not coming from the roof because the roof is perfectly dry, which has dumbfounded me a little bit because there's so much moisture in here still from all the rainstorms that I haven't been able to protect it from. Like, it's still soaking wet down there. I did drill a hole down there to drain all that water, but there's still a lot of water. So what are we doing first in this vehicle? It's not even a vehicle, is it? Right. Well, one of the first things that I want to attach is the legs. We need to get the tyres out from underneath that this thing is sitting on. I need to get it up in the air as high as I can get it. I need to trim off that step area and get that step finalised, and then we can start sealing up the corners and any other area likewise. Here as well, that all of this is potential areas for water to ingress in, but the rest of it is fairly solid, although we do need to do this as well, and I'm not sure how that's going to happen because of that nasty overlap. I just could not get this to sit properly because before I think I twisted the body, the top half, a little bit when I had it fitted pretty well the last time, and this time I couldn't get it to twist because I doubled everything up, so I'd made it a lot more rigid. So I've got a little bit of thinking to do on that front piece. It's got to be sealed one way or the other. That window up there, they are over 300 quid brand new. Is going directly over this plugged hole all the way across. So I'm going to run some wood across to support it, and that's where it's going. So in the summer we can literally open that bugger up, stand on the chair if we have to. We can get a fan of some description or a series of computer fans put on to blow air inside if we need to, because remember, we've got a very, very fluffy Alsatian that we plan on taking with us, and they don't do well in the heat. Okay, went to the yard this morning. These here legs that we spoke about, well, we picked up some steel that's already pre-galvy, which might be more of a nuisance to me, I don't know yet. So the idea is these are going to be the legs. The sleeves, I was hoping we might be able to pot rivet a piece of that plastic stuff, what do they call that? I can't remember the name of it, but that ain't going to happen anyway, so no. These will just they'll have to be a little bit on the wobbly side. There's not a lot I can do about it, other than maybe at the bottom put a gland in or something. I don't know, something to weld on the bottom where I could turn the screw up and there'd be a gland of grease, like on a prop shaft of a boat, to try and stop that from being sloppy up the top. The sloppiness will be less because the motors have got to go on, and that's the other question. What do I do with the motors? Do I cut a long slit out, fix the motors to the side, have a bar come out to push? Do I stick it on the top? How much of this will actually poke out? How am I going to mount them? These are all questions that have got to be figured out. everything I need to make a working leg is on this bench. I want to solidly mount, because I've lost the ends, these got broken, and beggars can't be choosers. These cost me 0 cash. Now I could reorder another one of them for each one, but my thoughts on it are, let's make this solid. So it's got 2 boltable points, one that end, and they're all intact on that end, and then a steel tube. So if we drill out those holes, which were the grippers, and put a piece of metal in there, for example, this is the one that came out of this one, that could be hammered back in and then re-dot punch them out to compress them back in. But here, look, you can see the crown there is snapped off from there, and anyway, they're so large they don't even fit, which is wow, that could be useful, because that fits in there. We could just drill a straight hole if I could get that to work. Unfortunately, the alley has busted, unless I can get new ones. I don't know. The other problem I might have is, because they are 24 volt, but they will work on 12. See, that's on 12 now, but they might not have the torque on 12 volt. Bullerman cold. Not as cold as it is in Canada. Anyway, rams. I've been out here an hour. I've done one. This is the one I showed you yesterday that actually had a complete end that wasn't snapped, and the only way I could get around this, my tapper nose didn't work, so I had to drill a hole. I drilled a 5mm hole for a 6mm tap. It should have been a 4.80 or something, I think, but I haven't got one. So I drilled a 5mm. The thread was a bit loose, I will confess. And I drilled and I bolted it through, all the way through, right the way through, top and bottom. Cut the head off, and then cut a slit on both ends, and then hammered them down and hammered them down, so as it took up some of this metal, and there you go, and then ground it flat. Take that linear apart in the end. It just wasn't functioning. It stopped, and I couldn't figure out why. And I'll tell you what, these are not easy to pull apart. You got this spider, and there's a pin, a split pin you've got to knock out before that can slide off this entire unit. Very careful, photograph everything. All of this clutch system is quite in depth. But what has happened, I don't know if you can see this, is at some point this one's overheated, and it's heated up the solders and the spring on the brush. You'll note that the brush is not sticking out as far as what that one there is. So yeah, new brushes. Not quite sure how that's going to go on this. Well, I say new brushes, I mean a new spring at least. If I can get that brush out, I can detach the spring, I can put a new spring on, and then as long as I can put it all back together, and that is a little bit hit and miss at the moment to whether I'll be able to do it, we should have that linear working. There you go. I'll give you an example of how fine that spring is. That is knackered. I've just took it out of that one. I wonder what that rust staining was all about. That one's alright, that's got some strength left in it. Brushes, not the greatest, but you can see they've been sliding on the side for quite a while. So I've resoldered it. I've got a new spring. Way better. Yeah, I'm happy with it. Better than it was. You can see there is one spring tighter than the other, but ain't a lot I can do about that. I suppose if I get the shaft fitted, that'll sort that out before I wear the damn thing out. back together. Unfortunately, this little chip setup here, I chipped it on one of the chips. When I say chipped it, I mean like crushed one of the circuits. But I believe this is more to do with the blue wire, which is connected up onto another circuit board to give you an indication of where the RAM is, depending on what the RAMs are being used for. So I don't think I need to worry about that. I've unplugged it. I'm just going to leave it floating in there. It's not doing any harm. The auto stops are working. The motor is way more powerful than it was before, and then the bit I'm disappointed about is I honestly didn't think I could fix it, so I didn't film what was going on. But what I can say is when it was extracting out, it was shutting down halfway. The last time I did it, it wasn't great, but it did move up and down. But when I put some weight or load on that arm, the whole thing just locked up and you could hear a hum noise. So that was the motor about to go bang. As you can see, it's smooth, it's moving, and it's doing everything it needs to do. Okay, it's all back together. Now, a brief rundown on what you need to do inside here. You've seen all the circuitry. There is two circuit boards. The smaller of the two circuit boards, which is up here, I think, looking further that way, is the split pin. You've got to knock that split pin from the inside out without damaging that circuit board, which on my second attempt I did. But that circuit board isn't needed in my case, so I wasn't particularly too worried about that. I didn't have an Allen key to undo it, fortunately. So a little bit of a bodge on my part. Then you give a slight turn and twist. But before you do that, on the large circuit board, there is a black lever. You need to very carefully unclip it. Now you can unclip it from the board by releasing the big piece of plastic which is clipped into the board, which I think on hindsight is probably the better way in doing it. Or you can just literally get a small screwdriver and very carefully pry it apart. That is your auto stop. You do not want to break that or lose it. Once you've removed that, then you can twist and pull the whole thing apart, and you take the spider cage off, and there are videos online for these particular RAMs on how to do them. So I decided not to do one because there's others out there that can explain it better than I can. There's a little dark, I won't deny, but we've done it. I got one though, one of these, I can't remember which one it is. It's the one I was repairing. This one maybe, I don't know. One of them, which one? One of them keeps losing its rod. That's not a good thing. I don't know if the thread is any good at the other end. It's a very fine thread and I can't seem to get it to jump back on the thread. And the end is a little crinkled, and I think that's the crinkle to stop it from coming off, so you can't actually unscrew them and remove them without mucking them up, if you see what I'm saying. The story behind these, and I have to thank Mark for this one, a subscriber. Thank you so much. You don't know how cool these are for what I need them for. Job site, where they come from, somebody had knocked a wire off, the hatch wouldn't open, there was two on each hatch. In the end they got a forklift and literally yanked them off, and that's why there's 3 broken ends. And I've now fixed those as best as they need to be for what I need them for anyway. So yeah, sorted. I'm so pleased. I am so pleased. So right, now we are at the position now. It's only took me all day just to repair that defective motor. I'm going to attach these as my next quest. Throw those on the end, drill a hole, run a nut and bolt through, and then I shall, in fact the nut and bolt, I might use cap heads for that on an 8mm basis. I don't really know how to explain it. Right. Can't do this at the moment. I just don't have all the bits that I need. what I need next is some flat bar. I don't want to wipe out slitting discs. These are these expensive ones I told you about. I also need some flat bar. So the plan is quite simple, really. I've opened that up so I can slide that inside. Okay, eventually there'll be a piece of flat bar within that gap that you see there that's a lot thicker than that stuff. That will be welded in position. This will then be inserted down with the tube somehow joining onto that, and I ain't really sure at the moment how that's going to happen. I'm now thinking to myself, maybe I should have put that in the lathe first, machined them down a bit or something, I don't know. But by putting that tube in that tube, it will make that whole thing rigid, and then I can re-weld back up in there, and everything should work relatively well. The flat plate will then become an anchor point, because what I can do after that is get two pieces of larger angle and bolt them to the back, run some bolts through top and bottom, and then I can run on, and I'm not saying I'll do this, but I can do this, is I could then run a hole with a slit, and then what we have got is we've got some of the electrics starting to turn up that I need for this. Oh, it stinks of sillet bang. But the other problem I've got is I've still got water coming in, so I do need to start considering sealing this up. So even though there is water underneath and stuff won't stick, I've got to try. The sillet bang that I sprayed in here to fight the mould has condensated on the roof and has now been dripping down, which is what this is all about. I've got a charger, I have a battery, but I don't know if it's any good. We've got a 240 volt socket port coming, which is probably going to be put in here on that side, and the wires will run across, down there and across. I don't think it's a good spot to put it anywhere else. It's a flush mount one. It could go here, but it's going to be in the way of the seats. Can't go under there for obvious reasons, can't go behind for obvious reasons. It could go in over here, but there's going to be a lot of water in that area. I can't put it over here because there's going to be heat. So it just leaves me with here. So that will come in and go down, go across there, go down, be a socket fixed to the wall. The charger will be plugged into that, the battery will be put down there. I'll be putting the inverter on that wall as well. We'll be putting a lid across, small one. We're not going to have too big a space, and then there'll be a sliding in. So that has got to be dried out, ready to put paint on, so the electrics can start. The other thing I wanted to do, as this is now officially, no one buys it, this thing. I want that window. Priorities on camper build have changed slightly. I'll explain why in a minute. Due to trolls, I've now decided just to scrap the damn thing because it's not appreciated. There was a lot of hard work went into that. Some of you have been watching, you know this, but there just seems to be people that are hell-bent on knocking people down when they're at their lowest point, and I've got two of them recently on my channel, and well, that's quite simple. I'll explain at the end of the video, but the reason why my priorities have changed is the rain. I'm still getting water in droves. Look at that. And it stinks in here. I sprayed Sillet Bang and it reeks. I was trying to get rid of some of this black mould that's appearing. The problem is it's been so cold, the Sillet Bang hasn't evaporated away. It's found its way up onto the ceiling in the form of condensation, and it's made the smell quite miserable in here. It stinks. So we've got water getting in over there. That's quite bad over in that corner, and I have no idea where it's coming from. I can't find the leak at all. So I am assuming that it's coming in under the seal. But honestly, I don't know. I don't really know. So what I've got to do, and I need to put this priority, is one, because this is leaking as well here. We're going to put that skylight hatch in. I've already removed it from the lorry. I've already got a blanking plate to put over the hole on the lorry. So what I've done with the lorry, I'll explain this briefly, is after the trolls came in, started taking the mickey. I can handle the mickey, you know, just because Elon Musk wants to act like a knobhead on X to prove a point that he owns it, doesn't mean everybody else in the world has to do the same thing to try and demonstrate their masculinity. Do you know what I mean? I personally think trolls, and I've been one myself, they need to grow up a little bit. And you know, anyway, look, you might have the freedom in the world, the country you come from, to attack people's abilities and efforts. I have the power. If you think you've got the you've got the right, then I have the right to block you, and I have the right to delete your comments. I've deleted the comments, but I haven't blocked them, not yet. If they continue, there's only 2 of you. If you continue, I will block you, and I'll block anybody else, because I want to keep this a nice, friendly atmosphere. What I do not want is confrontations in the comments, and I'll turn the comments off if I have to. I'm not that bothered if the channel doesn't grow. The people that are watching, I'd rather have a whole series of loyal, friendly, nice people than a whole load of dumb-out arseholes that really don't know how to conduct themselves properly. It seems that Mr. Musk is trying to lead a trend of insults in the world. I don't understand at all why he's acting the way he is. You don't really know. He doesn't. I'm not getting into it, but basically, yeah, trolls, watch out. I'm coming for you. You come on my channel, I'm coming for you. I can't even remember where we were now. Yeah, so over £300 brand new. And the chances of finding these second hand is slim, because when people are replacing them, they're broken anyway. It's going in a 2-inch deep hole that I've got to make, which will allow me to build a very light aluminium frame underneath it to put computer fans in order to blow cold air in or out, depending on the situation I'm in. I have already a plate, because I think the scrapyard man, is concerned that he's going to be left with a cab that he can't sell. So I've made, out of an old window, a blanking plate basically. There's no glass in it. And that's been sealed up. It's been sitting here 2 days. That is going in the hole. I've just got to make the hole a little bit bigger on one edge, but that is pretty much going in the hole. I'm not even going to seal. I'm just going to screw it straight in. So I'm waiting for a jigsaw to come through the post, hopefully tomorrow. I had to order one last tool to make sure that I've got everything I need, because my Evolution jigsaw is now crapped out. It doesn't hold blades very well, and the speed controller broke, which is proving to be really unhelpful. So that one will be getting thrown away. This jigsaw that's coming is cordless, 2 amp hour Fatmax from Stanley. I'm not so keen on their tools, but I do have 2 other tools from Stanley with modern Fatmax batteries. So I have 3 batteries, 3 chargers, 3 separate tools, and that should help dearly. One of them is a reciprocation saw. Is that what you call them? I can't remember. You can laugh at that one. And that's going to get used to cut that up, because again, I've been trolled over this as well. So I'm scrapping the logbook on this, and I'm literally going to cut it up, which is another crying shame. I can't ride it anymore anyway. My shoulder, I've got real bad arthritis in one of my shoulders. It's 2 5 petrol engine in that, and it is heavy. Even though I've balanced it by leading the forks out on a long rake, putting the back end out on a long length as well, the engine is pretty well balanced on all three wheels, but it still doesn't change the fact that it is flaming heavy. And I can't ride it anymore, which is a crying shame, because I used to have a lot of fun with this, and when there was a turbo on that, my God, was that quick. Was that freaking quick. We will cover it up with a plastic sheet, put a dehumidifier in, and then what we'll do is we'll get a grinder and we'll grind out all of these areas. We're going to put a piece of tape over the top, and if that ain't enough, then I'll get some aluminium cut from that checker plate sheet I got, and we'll glue and screw checker plate all the way around all of the areas that are leaking. These bits here, I actually want to cut into those to curve them, and I want to seal them up with just fiberglass alone. So there's 4 of those corners, and I would like to try and blend them in to match, but all of these up here, I want those completely cased, and if it does come to the point where I have to put checker plate across there and across there, that is what I will do. Once we've got that dried and we've got those sealed, I want the skylight put in. I've got that already. I've got some 2x1 wood in the garden, so that will go in as well. But as you can see, we've still got leaking windows, and that's pissing me off massively as well. Well, as you can hear, we've got fans going, we've got dehumidifier going. You can see how wet this actually is. I didn't realise how much water has been getting in. Look. Soaked. Man. This dehumidifier is staying on for a whole week, so yeah. The roof is collecting a lot of water. Question is the dehumidifier? Starting to. Well, I think I might move that over to the corner then. Start attacking that area. But there's still a bang worked on the mould anyway. That's gone. Okay guys, you're getting the gist of it. We need to seriously start thinking about sealing the outside of this up, and I don't think there's any ifs or buts about it. I also need to crack that window out and have another go at sealing it up, because water is clearly getting past. No idea how or where, so I may have to start again on that. That is going to be a right pig to remove. So we've got a combination of hot air and cold air. I've got cold air blowing out the top, and you can see how much condensation there is on there. But we've got hot air coming out of the back, which is the exhaust. So I've got that blowing on all the damp. The ceiling is also collecting a lot of water. Sorry, I'm not pointing also is drying out now as well. Yeah, that's dry. So first job, and I might do this if it's not raining tomorrow, is get that roof hatch put in and then get the sheet put back over. Second job, because there's nothing I can do until this is dried out, I might very well start getting the legs built. Even if I just get the tubes welded up ready, at least I'm a little way ahead of that, okay? There is nothing to stop us after this from sealing the roof in completely, but we do need to resolve the leaks before the plastic comes off. Look, this is all teething problems really when it comes down to it. It's what it is. It's just teething problems. I built this in stages, separate stages, so it's pretty inevitable there was going to be leaks somewhere. I won't lie. I didn't know there'd be as many leaks, but I knew there would be. Not helped by the fact that door is not sealing properly either. So we need to get a new door seal on that, and we need to get some extra locks so we can pull everything nice and tight. In fact, what I would like to do is get the ruddy hinges off the lorry on those two lockers on the other side and change those hinges over and put some strong hinges on. I'd like to do that. Until that chappie has been up and had a look at the lorry, I can't really do much. I think I'm getting the impression he might try and sell it and split the money. I think is where he's going with it, but it wouldn't be financially sensible to do that when half the stuff I need is inside it, and I'll get less money for the lorry than what it will cost me to replace the parts that I'm selling. I'd rather just strip it out, get what I need, and scrap what's left, and just call it a bad job. You know, learn by your mistakes, as they say. Sometimes it's easier and less stressful to count your losses, put your tail between your legs, walk away from it, and regroup at a later date. You're on this planet once, you can't take any of this stuff with you. What's the point in crying about it? Seriously, what is the point in crying about it? I had a go, it didn't work. Period. Anyway, I think we'll do a few daily vlogs this week, just to keep you guys fed on some of the rubbish that I'm doing. I'll tell you what though, it's lovely and warm in here. God. Even with that cold air blowing, with the hot, we've got that heater on as well. We've got that on half. And it did. I don't like full power, that plug get hot. That was pat tested, but I don't think it was pat tested properly. I got that from Cop Doc Motorcycle Show, the Jumble, but it isn't very good. So look, thanks for your likes and shares, and I'll see you tomorrow. You take care.